Hello again, everyone. I'm Dr. Michael Blackwell, your host for It's a Family Matter. Over the last few months, we've had enlightening and energetic visits with Dr. Gary Chapman, best-selling author, internationally known authority. And I want to stress that, Gary, internationally known authority on relationships, and one who fully understands that in all of this, these love languages, it is a family matter. Go ahead and remind everybody what the 5 love languages are.
Number 1 is words of affirmation. Number 2 is gifts, universal to give gifts as an expression of love. Quality time, giving the person your undivided attention. And then there's acts of service, doing something for them that communicates, I love you. And then physical touch. Physical touch communicates again, especially to children, that they are loved. And, of course, as adults, we also thrive on physical touch, appropriate physical touch.
Before we go any further, I've heard you talk about unconditional love.
Yeah.
What does that mean, unconditional love?
It means you love them no matter what they do. You know, if you say to a child, for example, I will go buy you a gift, maybe a ball glove if they've been wanting a ball. I'll go buy you a ball glove if you'll clean up your room. That's no longer a gift. That's payment for services rendered. Unconditional love is loving them, getting them the gift whether they clean their room or not. And so unconditional love is not based on whether or not they're doing what you want them to do. It's the kind of love God has for us. And unconditional love means we love our family, we love people that we encounter, no matter what they do and no matter what kind of person they are.
Well, we're going to be talking today about receiving gifts and how important that is. I want to lift this quote here from your book. A gift is something you can hold in your hand and say, look, he was thinking of me, or she remembered me. You have to be thinking of someone to give them a gift. Gifts are visual symbols of love, unquote.
Yeah.
Please elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, I think that is the heart of what gifts are. The gift doesn't have to be expensive. You know, you can pick up a feather, taking a walk, and you find a bird feather, and take it home and say to your spouse, I found this when I was walking today, and I thought about you. You know, how many mothers have received a dandelion from their kids? It didn't cost a thing. The kid just picked the dandelion and took it to the mother. I say to the dads, you know, you can pick flowers in your backyard in the spring and summer. They don't cost a thing. Or if you don't have flowers in your yard, your neighbor's yard, ask them. They'll give you a flower.
So sometimes you pick that flower yourself,
yeah,
or 2 or 3 of those dandelions, and you go in and you present this to someone you know that likes to receive gifts. That's like a dozen roses.
Absolutely.
A couple of things I want to point out here. This is not just limited to we human beings. We had a cat one time. Any time this cat caught a mouse, she proudly presented it to us because she was proud of that mouse, and we graciously received her gifts. And I've talked to you a little earlier in one of our other podcasts about children who will say, look, Mommy, look what I'm doing. Receive this gift of me being able to stand up and walk by myself. Receive this gift of me going out into the yard and giving you I found a 4-leaf clover, Mom. Looky here, Mommy. So we have to graciously receive the gifts when people give them to us out of their heart and because they actually care about us.
Yeah. And, you know, Michael, I'd like to make this point, too. Sometimes as parents, we don't get emotional credit for the gifts we give our children because we don't present them as gifts. For example, when a new school year starts, typically we buy clothes, and school supplies. Well, what do we do with them? Bring the clothes home, throw them in the washer, you know, and then put them in the drawer. The child didn't see that as a gift. It's just, you know, it happened. Why not wrap them up like you do at Christmas and birthdays? Wrap it up and give it to the child. Now it's a gift, and give it in the presence of the whole family, and you get emotional credit for it. So I think it's important that we understand for some children, gifts is their primary language. Now, all children like gifts, But for some, this is their primary language, and it really communicates, I love you.
Yeah. My preaching professor at Southeastern Seminary had just retired after 32 years of pastoring First Baptist Church in Richmond, Virginia. Theodore F. Adams, Ted Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Every month, every single month, on the day of their anniversary, he would give his wife, Esther, a small gift. Every month. Not every year, every month. A lollipop, a lipstick, a pen, a pencil, a Hershey bar, a cup of ice cream. Every month he did this, and her eyes still sparkled for him after 60 years of marriage. What do you make of that?
Well, apparently that was her love language. Gifts was her love language, and he was on target, and he was meeting that need for love, and she probably never questioned his love for her. Now, unfortunately, that's not the love language of all women, of course, or men, and so you can give gifts to some people, but if that's their number 5, you don't get a whole lot of credit for it. I mean, they appreciate it, but if their love language is words of affirmation, for example, and you're not giving them words of affirmation, you can give them a lot of gifts, and they still won't feel loved because it's not their primary language. So gift giving is good. I mean, who's going to turn away a gift? You know, everyone's happy to have a gift. But for some people, it means more emotionally than it does to other people.
It's interesting to me that the day after Thanksgiving or the day after Christmas or soon after, people are taking gifts back. You know, they open it. What is that? And they take them back and they re-gift.
Yeah.
What is that?
I'll tell you my experience in the early days, and my dad had always taught me to give gifts on birthdays and anniversaries, and just give her gifts, son, give her gifts. So I did. In the first 2 or 3 years, I just gave my wife gifts. You know, almost everything I gave her, she took back in return and exchanged it. And one day I said, Carolyn, why don't we just cut out the middleman and you just go buy what you want? She liked it because gifts was her number 5. I mean, they didn't mean much emotionally to her. You know,
gotcha.
It was the acts of service that meant love to her. So as long as I was serving her, she felt love. But the gifts didn't mean a whole lot. She'd much rather go pick it out herself.
When in a relationship should you begin to really understand each other's love language?
I think the sooner the better. In fact, I'm running into a number of couples who say to me, on our first date, this girl gave me your book and told me to read it. I said, well, that's pretty straightforward,
yeah.
You know. But I think the sooner we get the love language concept down, and that's why with parents, if we can teach this to our children so that they get the concept that mama has a love language, daddy has a love language, sister has a love language, and they grow up with this concept, and then they bring that into all their relationships. But in a dating relationship, here's what I found. Because the average lifespan of this in-love euphoria is 2 years, and we come down off of that. Many couples will date for 2 years, and then they break up because the one of them says, I don't have the feelings anymore. Well, if they had discovered the love languages and they were speaking each other's love language, they would still feel loved, and they could make a decision on to marry or not to marry on other things that are really important rather than on the feelings that they lost.
So you can't maintain that high. And I think that's what some people think it's going to be about. Wait a minute, I don't feel that way anymore. And they don't understand the emotionality of a relationship. And that's what I like about what you stress, because you have to have that emotional connection, whether it's with a spouse, whether it's with a friend, or whatever. You have to seek to understand as well as to be understood.
Yeah, and I think that's our deepest emotional need, is the need to feel loved by the significant people in your life. Friendships thrive on that over the years. If we feel loved and appreciated by a friend, we be friends for years. If we don't feel loved and appreciated, friendships tend to break up over time. And so in the family, it's extremely important that we meet the child's need for love and we meet the spouse's need for love. And when that takes place, you're likely going to have a healthy family.
And you can have friendships that break up. I did a video recently that goes out to a lot of people, and it was talking about the pain of a friend turning their back on you. That's a breakup, really, and that can be very traumatic, and you can get depressed when a friend turns his or her back on you. But a friendship is it's a relationship It's not a marriage, but it's a friendship where you have come to love and trust that person, and then all of a sudden they break up with you. And so how do you get over a 20-year friendship in which somebody just doesn't communicate with you anymore and obviously doesn't have a need that you have?
Yeah. I think, first of all, you do try reconciliation. You do share with them. I've noticed that things aren't the same that they used to be with us, and I'm just wondering why. Maybe you can explain it to me. And it's okay if this is what you want, but I just would like to know what the dynamics are here. And sometimes that kind of honest conversation, there can be reconciliation because they can share what has kind of turned them off, and you can deal with it. But if they refuse to do that, you have to let relationships go. It takes two people to maintain a relationship. One person can't do it alone. And I think we have to release the person to God who knows their heart better than we do and who will treat them fairly because he's a just God and a loving God.
Some gifts just keep on giving and giving and giving. I have in my office a little one-eyed teddy bear. That little teddy bear is now 75 years old with the original name of Teddy. And every time a child comes into my office, I bring out Teddy. He is a great ambassador, and I find that is a gift that has lasted a lifetime that I can still use as kind of an object lesson for children who are coming in to my office. And so that is one of those gifts that just keeps on giving and giving and giving. So I want to know if you have any other comments here talking about this that you might like to share with us, or any illustrations, or just any kind of words of wisdom or advice that you'd like to give on this particular language.
I think I would say this, Michael, especially to parents. Even if your child's love language is gifts, it doesn't mean you give them everything they ask for. We are the parent, and we give gifts that we think will be meaningful to them or that they're ready to receive. Even God does not give us everything we ask for. I'm so glad for that, because I had a dating relationship early on. The girl broke up with me, and I prayed, oh, God, change her mind, Lord, And God didn't answer that prayer, and I'm so glad he didn't because I later married the woman I should be with. So as parents, we have to be responsible gift givers. And we have to decide when we think a child is ready for a particular gift. They may be begging for it, and they may say, everybody in my room has this. Well, maybe that's true, maybe that's not true. But you say, well, honey, everybody may have it, but I'm your parent, and I don't think you're ready for this. So don't let children, and particularly teenagers, manipulate you and say, well, if you really love me, this is my love language, is gifts, and so you ought to be giving me this. No, I love you too much to give you that now. That's the response of the parent. We're responsible for
I love you too much to give that to you now. That's good. Well, I appreciate all that you have done for us, for the fascinating look here at receiving gifts, which is one of your 5 love languages. I'm Dr. Michael Blackwell. So long for now.
It's a Family Matter is a production of Baptist Children's Homes of North Carolina. To learn more, visit us at www.bchfamily.org. You can also find us on Facebook. Be sure to subscribe and share our podcast with a friend.